What's going on, guys? So today I want to talk about Unreal Engine 4. So as you guys know, I've been doing a bunch of videos talking about the dungeon changes and then when they nerfed it and then changed it again and just a bunch of stuff with the actual gameplay of Blade & Soul. I haven't done an official video kind of sharing my thoughts on the performance changes with Unreal Engine 4 and how I feel the game is running. So I want to talk about really the pros first, then we'll talk about the cons. So the pros are there are some great changes with Unreal Engine 4. Really one of the best changes I've seen with Unreal Engine 4 is the fact that the loading screen time is so quick now. I'll give you guys a really quick example. Just changing characters is insanely quick now compared to what it used to be. Even going into the F8 dungeon lobby, going into dungeons. See how quickly I'm already into the character change screen. Before Unreal Engine 4, this would take literally, like, I could get up, get some water, and come back, and I'd finally be onto this screen. Now, literally, it is like a couple of seconds. It is very fast, and I'm really a fan of this. And this is how going into dungeon lobbies and everything is for me. Of course, I can't speak for everyone, and maybe it's not as fast for other people's PCs, but with my PC specs and how I play, it is very quick loading into everything. So this is something I've really been a fan of, mainly because Blade & Soul has a lot of loading screens. Going into F8, it's a loading screen. Going into the dungeon lobby, it's a loading screen. Going into the actual dungeon, it's another loading screen. Sometimes in the actual dungeon, there's another loading screen. There is a lot of loading screens. So they have to be fast, and before Unreal Engine 4 they were very, very slow. So this is probably one of the biggest benefits I've seen with Unreal Engine 4. Just being able to have fast loading screens is very, very nice. Besides that, I've noticed that the gameplay is much more smooth in terms of no more stuttering. Stuttering was such a big issue with Blade & Soul over the years. I haven't really noticed it in combat anymore. Another thing I've noticed is that using my abilities, they're much more quick to react. I feel like skills go off way easier without me having to spam the button 100 times to get them to click. They actually just go off right away. So honestly, I am a fan of a lot of these changes with Unreal Engine 4. Besides that, kind of a mixed pro and a con for me is just kind of the graphic overhaul with Unreal Engine 4. As you guys know, the game is way brighter now. There's a lot of different variation how the game looks compared to it looked in Unreal Engine 3. And really, in some areas, I feel like the game does look better and the graphics look beautiful. But in certain cases, the game can look a little bit not as good in my opinion. I feel like sometimes the characters and art style can get a little bit watered down with the Unreal Engine 4 lighting, and sometimes it doesn't look as good. So I'm kind of like on a mixed opinion with this. I feel like overall it's fine and the game looks good, but I do sometimes miss some of the art style of Unreal Engine 3. And honestly, in my opinion, I've never really had a problem with the graphics of Blade & Soul in the past. I always thought it looked fine, like the cartoon anime style. I think it looked great, and really my only issue was, of course, the performance of Unreal Engine 3. But as far as the graphics, I really didn't mind. So it's kind of a mixed opinion on that. I feel like there's some great areas and also some areas that don't look that good with the new engine. So kind of a middle line with my opinion on that. Now, I want to get on to the cons though, because there are issues with the engine still that haven't been addressed. So one of the biggest cons for me is the FPS. Now, in certain cases, FPS can be pretty solid. If I'm running a dungeon by myself and in certain areas, the FPS is fine. I don't have any drops or freezes, which is great. But in other areas, there still are some FPS drops. One of the biggest offenders probably, is Mushin's Hall. I don't know what is going on with Mushin Tower, but this area, the FPS is terrible for me. And I've seen a lot of people post on the Reddit and the forums saying what is up with Mushin's Hall. I don't know why this area, but it feels terrible. I don't know if you guys can see this through my recording OBS, but if you guys can, I don't know. When I'm playing right now, it just looks really laggy. The FPS looks terrible. I don't know if the FPS is even considered dropping, but like it just doesn't feel right. And then when I put characters off, everything feels good again. It feels like whenever I'm in Mushin's Hall, like my character's like drunk or something. Like I don't know what's going on, and there's not even that many characters here, but it almost hurts my eyes. I don't even like coming here anymore. So certain areas, like the FPS is just really weird. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they didn't code Mushin's Hall correctly, but I don't really feel like it's my PC's fault when every other area mostly is fine, but Mushin's Hall is just like, ugh, it hurts my eyes. So certain areas, the game is still a little bad. Also, every once in a while, when I don't have characters off and I'm running Midnight Scapito Plains, at the start of the fight, when everyone's going in, there will be a little bit of a freeze. It's very rare, though. Most of the time, the dungeons are pretty smooth. But the fact that gameplay still has some issues and stuff like this, like Mushin's Hall, I feel like is definitely a con. Everyone wanted to see this game be completely optimized, and the fact is that the game is not. It's definitely improved, and the game is definitely better than what it was with Unreal Engine 3, of course. But it's definitely not the golden save the game, no more issues with the optimization that we all wished it was. I don't know if later down the line there might be some fixes. I've heard Korea got a few, but maybe we'll get those. I don't know how much that would actually fit some of these issues. But overall, Unreal Engine 4 has been good. I've been a fan of it, and I'm definitely happy to see The loading screen time's faster, some of these issues getting addressed. Still a little disappointing that not everything has been fixed, and there still are some FPS issues every once in a while. Keep in mind that everyone's opinion is going to be different. There's some people with their PCs that say the game runs terrible in general. There's some people that say they have zero issues and the game is in the best performing state it's ever been in. So everyone's going to be different. Everyone's different PC specs and everything. So keep that in mind. This is just my opinion and what I've seen over the course of a couple weeks of playing. Kind of a side note, it doesn't directly relate to Unreal Engine 4, but more so the patch. I don't really want to make a separate video for it, but I just want to share my thoughts. One of the things I've noticed is over the past couple weeks, the game's replayability has been kind of in a bad state, in my opinion. Like, with them removing all these dungeons like Dreamsong Theater, the Shadowmoor, Warp Citadel, like, we only have like barely any dungeons in F8. Yes, the dungeon challenge is way quicker to do, which is fine if you're a casual player. But one of the things I've noticed is that like once you get done with like the 4 or 5 dungeons in the daily challenge, you're basically like you're done. Like you don't really have much more to do. If you want to rerun these dungeons, you don't even get like the Elder Scale chests, so you can't even get more Elder Scales or anything like that. So you can't even farm more scales like you would be able to do in the past because those are tied to the daily quests of the dungeons and not from the dynamic chests like they used to be. So you can't even rerun dungeons to farm for scales or anything. So with this patch, I really feel like the replayability of the game has been kind of hurt. Like once you just kind of do your dailies, you basically just log off. Like before you could like grind out dungeons and farm and get more scales and kind of progress, where now like your progress is really gated off the dailies. Like once you do your dailies, like no more scale fragments, no more gold, no more like that's all you can do. Sure, you can farm like Harmo and other things like that, but like I don't know, I just feel like the replayability of the game has been kind of hurt by just them removing all these dungeons. Also, for me at least, it gets a little boring just running like only 4 or 5 of the same dungeons every day. At least in the past, there would be like a large variety of dungeons you can do. And now it's just like, since they removed so many dungeons from the dungeon challenge and F8, it's like now you only can do so many same dungeons every single day. It gets kind of boring for me. So I don't know if I'm really a fan of this patch. And again, it doesn't relate directly with Unreal Engine 4, but it's one of the things I've noticed. And like, I don't know if they can maybe change it. I guess it's more casual friendly because you can log in for 20-30 minutes and finish your daily challenge really quickly. But I really don't want to stay on longer than that. Like, I'm already going to log off after this video because I've kind of done everything, you know. I'll do my Silversteel Laboratory quests later this week. But I don't know, it's just, I feel like this is kind of a bad move in my opinion, but we'll have to see how it kind of impacts the game. Anyways, that's just really my thoughts on Unreal Engine 4 and kind of the state of the game. Let me know in the comments below, has Unreal Engine 4 been great for you? Has the gameplay been smooth? Has it been bad? I feel like there's definitely pros and cons, good and bad overall. But let me know in the comments below. Leave a like, sub to the channel as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one real soon.